It's no secret Donald Trump sympathizes with Russia in its war against Ukraine. He blamed Ukraine for getting invaded, he berated its president in the Oval Office, and he made the ultimate gesture of friendship to Vladimir Putin, picking him up at the airport. So, safe to assume he spent this week at the UN continuing his full-throated support of Russia.
Breaking news we are following this morning. President Trump reversed his position on the war and voiced confidence that Ukraine can regain its territory seized by Russia.
Trump writing in part, Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that.
Damn! Trump went from Ukraine needs to accept Russian invasion to they need to invade Russia. When this all began, Trump said he'd end this war on day one, and instead, we've now joined both sides. I guess you can't lose a war if you're on both sides. Now, let's not overreact here. Trump isn't exactly known for his consistent positions. He could just as easily switch sides again tomorrow if he, gets complimented by a Russian lady or sees a photo of that dog that looks like Vladimir Putin. Who pushes his opponents out the window? You do. But still, this is a surprising development. Maybe Trump changed his position after coming to a better understanding of the geopolitical implications of the situation. Or perhaps it was something a bit more personal.
Last month, President Trump rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin in Alaska, but is now sharing frustration.
I thought that was going to be the easiest one because of my relationship with Putin, but unfortunately, that's it. Relationship didn't mean anything.
This season of The Golden Bachelor is fucking weird. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Don't get down on yourself, Donald. It's not your fault the relationship didn't work out. Who could have known not to trust Russian dictator Vladimir Putin? You're not a mind reader. Whether it was pursuing strategic objectives or merely getting tired of boys, this was a major development. Unfortunately, it was overshadowed by another international incident.
The president was joined by the First Lady today as he made his big address at the United Nations. But they had a bit of trouble on the way. They were taking an escalator when it stopped working, leaving the first couple no other choice but to walk the rest of the way up.
Yeah. I like how he's just looking around when it broke, thinking, do I walk up these 15 stairs or do I just live here now? But hey, this is a pretty standard inconvenience. I'm sure we will never hear about it again. Unless, of course, there's an entire right-wing media apparatus built on grievance and hyperbole that wants to breathlessly recount it as a harrowing brush with danger.
Trump and Melania were riding it up, and it just stopped. The First Lady lost her balance a bit, but steadied herself, thankfully, and then marched to the top. She could have been hurt.
It came to a grinding halt, and you can even see them kind of slightly lurching forward.
This is serious stuff. As sitting ducks, if God forbid there was a security threat.
They could have hurt the most beautiful First Lady in American history.
Oh, my God, you monsters. We're not talking about some Uggo Eleanor Roosevelt here, no. You could have hurt someone hot. It's a good thing Melania's in such good shape, and it's a good thing Trump's ankles are the size of car tires. You all laughed at his cankles, but guess who's sturdy as a redwood? This cankle-having motherfucker. Now, the UN released a statement saying somebody at the top of the escalator inadvertently triggered a safety mechanism. So, it seems like the whole thing is just a silly coincidence.
Coincidence? Or sabotage?
It doesn't look like a coincidence to me.
Something more nefarious happening than just simple technical glitches.
Absolute sabotage.
I've been caught on like 5 elevators in my life. An escalator has never stopped working mid-escalation.
I find it bizarre that just coincidentally, all these things just don't happen to work for the president when they work for everybody else.
Are we really doing this? Are we going all in on the president being a victim of escalator sabotage? Because the deep state wants him to get his steps in? Can we just have a day, people? I will admit, it's a little suspicious that the escalator just happened to break for Trump. But on the other hand, things do break a lot around him.
You know, I pay all this money to teleprompter people, and I'd say 20% of the time they don't work. They don't work. And I apologize for those lights. The only place I don't have a light's up here. I feel like I'm in a sauna. So I don't know what hotel this is, but you ought to try turning on the air conditioning. I think this mic stinks, by the way.
So maybe it's not a coincidence. I mean, why does everything around Trump break? Is he being followed around by gremlins? Is that okay? Yeah, maybe that could be. That might be it. That might be it. So conservative media is furious that Trump was attacked by a stopped escalator. And apparently, some of them are furious that his people did nothing about it.
But that's a major security failure. And I was more, stunned at the reaction. Like, the leader of the free world is on the escalator, and Secret Service looking like, what do we do?
Yeah, what do we do? Do we just let this grown man walk upstairs? What do you want Secret Service to do? Wouldn't it have been more embarrassing if they had rushed in and made a big deal out of it? Thrown Trump over their shoulder like a kid having a meltdown leaving the Magic Kingdom? Well, look, there's no point trying to reason with them now. The right-wing train is leaving the station. So naturally, the White House is jumping on board.
Well, there was some concerning reporting over the weekend from the London Times, as you pointed out, that UN globalist staffers were basically plotting to set up the president of the United States. And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to literally trip up the president and the first lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people. And I will personally see to it, Jesse.
Good. Can you people please decide if Trump is the strongest man who has ever walked the earth or a sickly child with hollow bird bones who will crumble if he walks up 3 stairs? Now remember, the UN already gave an official explanation about why the escalator stopped, but see if you think the president's TV friends are buying it.
The spokesperson for the UN General Secretary said this: as the videographer who was I don't buy this, by the way, was traveling backwards up the escalator, reached the top, the first lady, followed by the president and Trump, each mounted the steps at the bottom. At that moment, it was 9:50 a.m. if you're counting at home. The escalator came to a stop. ...
We're making ellipses feel sinister now? What are these dots? What are they hiding? And don't get me started on semicolons. Are you a period or a comma? Pick one! But also, why does Brian Kilmeade think he knows better than the UN officials? What makes him an expert on escalators?
It's never happened to me before. I do a lot of shopping. I've got a lot of malls. Go to the second floor where the men's stuff is.
No. I go right to the men's floor. I don't stop at the kids' floor. No. I shop in the men's section, even though sometimes a kid's XXL is basically a men's small and the designs are cooler. But that's totally not where I shop. Sometimes I sneak into the Spencer Gifts when my mom's not looking. Look, you know what? I'm sorry I interrupted you, Brian Kilmeade. I'm sure this story is going somewhere.
Go to the second floor where the men's stuff is, because you walk in on the first floor. It never happened to me.
That's great.
That's it? Your whole story about the escalator is that you also once went up an escalator? Another fascinating addition to the discourse. And if I may also add, I too have been on an escalator.
That's great.
Great. For more on Escalator Gate and the controversy around it, we turn to Grace Kulenschmidt. Grace. Grace, wait a minute. Why are you in a parking garage?
Because I'm investigating, Jordan. I've been talking to my sources, and let me tell you, this escalator story goes all the way to the top. And then flattens out and goes back down to the bottom.
Okay. Wait, are you saying the Fox News people are right that there's more to this story?
You better believe it, bitch. The deep state has all sorts of plans for Donald Trump. I'm talking somebody getting on his elevator, then pushing all the buttons and then jumping out. I'm talking about those car door locks that keep unlocking just as he tries to pull it open. So he tries it again just as they unlock it again. And he's like, God damn it, just let me unlock it. I'm talking removing the latch on the bathroom stall. So he's got to do that little football squat thing where he holds the door while pinching a loaf.
Okay. But what's the point? It seems kind of silly.
Silly? Really, Jordan? You think it's silly that Donald Trump almost fell down a flight of stairs at the UN? Our beloved president, toppling backwards, his legs flying over his head, hitting every step going down. Doi, 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 doi. Is that funny? Landing on his butt. His pants splitting wide open in front of every world leader while the King of England says, good heavens, I saw a testicle. Would that be funny to you?
I mean, yes, it would. It would be funny, yes. Frankly, Grace, I just doubt that there is some global prank conspiracy.
Oh, so I guess I just woke up this morning with my hand in a bowl of warm water for no reason? No, it's because they know I'm getting close.
Grace, look, it doesn't need this big investigation. It's just an escalator malfunction.
Oh, is that right? Jordan, let me tell you a story. When I was 12 years old, all I wanted most in the world was a dress for my middle school dance. So I went to the mall and I took an escalator to the second floor because that's where the teen stuff is, because you walk in on the first floor.
Is that the whole story?
Yeah, I was on an escalator once.
Yeah, that's great.